Have you ever thought, hey, maybe I could handle a legal battle myself and save some money? Well, this story right here is a huge flashing warning sign. It's about a 5-year lawsuit over a fortune that ended in, well, probably the most shocking way you can imagine.
Yeah, those are the words from the judge himself, quoting a famous tragedy to wrap up a modern one. And what a tragedy it was. We're talking about a legal case that dragged on for almost 5 years, with over 20 court hearings and a mountain of more than 120 documents filed. And for all that effort, what was the grand prize at the end?
You're seeing that right. Zero. A big, fat nothing. After all that time, all that energy, all that conflict, the couple at the heart of this walked away with absolutely nothing except brand new, massive debts. So the real question is, how on earth does a fight for a small fortune end like this?
To really get the ending, you gotta go back to the beginning. This is the story of a couple, Mr. Oldham and Miss Krantz. They'd built a life together, but their relationship came to an end back in 2019. And like a lot of separations, they had things to divide. But one particular asset, well, it became the focus of their entire war.
This was the prize. $215,000, all sitting in cash, ready to go. Now, that's a lot of money for anyone, right? But for them, it became more than just cash. It was a symbol of everything they felt they were owed from the life they had shared.
And here's where the real trouble started. There was zero middle ground. Both Mr. Oldham and Miss Krantz wanted the entire amount. Not half, not a portion, all of it. It was a winner-take-all fight right from the start, which put them on a collision course with absolutely no room for a compromise.
So how did their fight for everything turn into nothing? Well, it all came down to a series of just catastrophic mistakes, and they were all driven by one single decision. They decided to represent themselves. They basically walked onto a professional battlefield without any of the right gear, and the results, they were devastating.
The chaos was instant. The judge himself called their case woefully underprepared. I mean, look at this list. They didn't do the basic stuff. No organized court book, no agreed-upon facts, no clear financial picture. Their evidence was just a mess of rumors and opinions, and it was all filed late. They were trying to build a legal case on a foundation of, well, sand. You don't have to take my word for it. Listen to the judge. He's basically saying that their most important legal documents, their sworn statements, were so badly written that no real lawyer would ever submit them. It wasn't just a small slip-up. It was a total failure to even speak the language of the court. But you know what? For all of those procedural messes, their single biggest mistake was something else entirely. While they were both laser-focused on that $215,000 prize right in front of them, they were completely blind to a giant financial black hole that was just lurking beneath the surface, waiting to swallow everything whole. And there it is, a tax debt. A huge one, over $170,000 owed to the government. This one single fact, kind of buried in an expert's report, turned out to be the most important piece of evidence in the whole 5-year saga. It was the ticking time bomb they never even knew was there.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, why did the judge just step in and fix this? Or at least point it out? Well, the answer gets to the very core of how the legal system works. The judge wasn't a detective. Think of him more like a referee. He could only rule on the game being played in front of him.
And this is a really important idea to grasp. In a system like this, it's up to each side, each party, to bring their best evidence and make their best arguments. The judge can't go hunting for missing paperwork or rewrite a bad statement for you. The responsibility to prove your case is on you. And in this story, they just couldn't meet that responsibility.
The judge followed a really clear 4-step process, exactly like the law tells him to. But at every single step, he was just blocked by the couple's terrible lack of evidence. He tried to figure out what they owned, but he couldn't even put a value on their overseas properties. He tried to figure out who contributed what, but he had to make a broad brush guess because their records were so bad.
So this is the nail in the coffin. When the judge got to step 1, identifying assets and liabilities, he found that massive tax debt. And the law is crystal clear on this point. The court has a duty to make sure the government gets paid what it's owed. That meant the tax office got paid before anyone else. This wasn't the judge's choice, it was his legal duty.
So what happens when you take a big pool of cash, subtract a giant tax debt, and then factor in years of legal fees? You get a pretty brutal lesson in financial reality. Let's look at the final, devastating math.
The numbers just tell the whole tragic story. That $215,000? Almost completely wiped out by the tax debt. That left just over $44,000. Split that down the middle, and it's about $22,000 each. But here's the final kick in the teeth. Each of them already owed over $116,000 to the lawyers they'd hired before they decided to represent themselves. So that tiny bit of cash left over, it was gone instantly, leaving them with absolutely nothing.
So this story, it isn't just a tragedy. It's really a masterclass in what not to do. Lesson 1, trying to go the free route can end up costing you everything. 2, being angry or feeling you're right means nothing in court without proof. 3, you have got to look for the hidden debts before you start counting the cash. 4, ignoring the rules and causing delays can literally kill your case. And finally, number 5, a court can only divide what's actually there.
And that really brings us to the final critical question this whole case leaves us with. When you're facing a moment that could define the rest of your financial life, is the gamble of going it alone a risk you can truly afford to take? For this couple, the answer was a painful and a very permanent no.